welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
And I'm Todd Pleasant.
It's a holiday season, everyone, whether you like it or not. It is the week after Thanksgiving. Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving.
It's Cyber Monday as we record this.
Cyber Monday. I mean, you know, it's like Black Friday, they want you to spend money. Cyber Monday, they want you to spend money. Giving Tuesday, they want you to give money. I mean, I'm all for certainly donating to charity, but like, why do it when you're spending all kinds of money? They should do that in like October or something. I don't know.
That should be exactly, before you laying it all out there.
I usually donate the week like after Christmas. That's when I do all my like I know the year's ending. I do want to give, but I also need shit for my taxes, so I want to make sure that seems to be the week to do it.
Well, and I noticed today that the Prop Store's Picard auction ends today, and I'm like, seems like a strange day to have an auction end where it's like right after the Thanksgiving holiday and it's Cyber Monday and
why do you think that is?
But it's also kind of not a time of year where people are necessarily buying big ticket items for themselves.
They're in England, those bastards. They don't know.
They don't know Christmas is like a month away.
They don't know Thanksgiving, or I don't think, do they have Cyber Monday
they don't
England?
celebrate Thanksgiving, no, but I don't know.
I looked through that auction. There was nothing I was interested in.
There was cool stuff, but nothing I was interested in bidding on, no.
I'm curious what it goes for. They had that, you can't see it, the bottle that I made.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yes.
When I looked at it when it was a week ago, it was up to like $900. I'm like, people, you can make that for about $40.
There were some costumes that, as of lunchtime today, and again, I don't want them, but there were some costumes that were like $100.
Really?
Still.
Interesting.
But they're like the guy that put fuel into the vehicle on Mars or whatever.
I was looking to see if there was a Tribble that I didn't know about that maybe made its way onto Picard.
There were not. I looked for that too.
Yeah. But you know what there was? When I was looking, after I bought my Tribble, it's in the display case. You can see it right there. If you want display cases, go to, this is not a plug, this is not a paid thing, Collecting Warehouse. They have nice acrylic heavyweight. That's sort of the same ones I got for our Black Widow guns.
Yes.
They're not cheap, but they're nice little display cases. Anyway, I looked up just auctions to get a sense of prices. There's a Tribble that they sold a few years back in the prop store auction that I think they said it was from the Undiscovered Country. That I think it was that some kid, they were evacuating someplace, and some kid's carrying his pet Tribble.
Oh yes.
And that's that's a one of a kind, like more or less Tribble that was sold. So we're missing a Tribble from our collection. Well, I'm missing one.
I was going to say some of us are missing more than one.
If I can't have them all, I'm going to just sell the ones I have. Just kidding. Keeping my Tribbles.
Yeah, and that didn't sell for that much. But anyway, so today we're going to talk about Andor. There will be spoilers. It ran through its 12 episodes. We're going to talk about the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. It came out about a week ago as you listen to this, so there will be spoilers there if there's...
Yeah, I think there are some... I've seen some people say that they want to wait till it's closer to the holidays to watch it. Good, go for it, but you might be spoiled by us, but you're going to be spoiled on the internet.
Exactly.
So
there's lots of this. I want to see that Ryan Reynolds one, too. I'm holding that for... Ryan Reynolds, Will Ferrell's got a Christmas movie, too.
Yes, I saw that.
No one watched A Christmas Story yet, did they?
No, I'm going to watch that closer to the holidays.
Yeah, me too. But let's go random. I'm going first, because I never do. Just because this is just something that's so interesting and so topical, and we almost never hear things like this. Ryan Johnson says...
It's funny. I had this on my list.
That was my number two.
Everyone
that was my number
had
two. Okay.
If his next Star Wars idea works better as a series, he'd be happy to make it that way. Fuck you, Ryan Johnson. No one wants you.
Okay. So, Ryan Johnson, in a later interview, said, if my next Star Wars idea would work in a cereal commercial, I would do that as well.
Again, I almost felt bad for him saying that. I don't mean that, Ryan.
I'm telling you, I've drifted into the I feel pity for this man area because he just doesn't know.
But you know what else he said in that interview? I keep getting together with
I
Kathleen
know.
Kennedy and having conversations. Who knows? Making The Last Jedi was the best experience of my life. So
and
I
the
should
worst
be so
experience
lucky.
of our lives. I'm sorry, Ryan Johnson.
I got news for him too.
It's
starting to look like Kathleen Kennedy's, days at Lucasfilm may be numbered with Bob Iger back. So his one, friend within Lucasfilm may not be there much longer.
Oh God, I don't know, but Ryan,
move on.
This is like
have some dignity. This is like the guy whose girlfriend kicked him to the curb, and he just keeps saying, I think after the holidays we're going to give it another try.
No, it was a girl that maybe he talked to at the library one day.
No, this was a thing.
They have a relationship. And
they went out. He invited
legitimately
the hottest
a thing, and he blew it, and he keeps thinking he's going to get another chance. This isn't a. He was on full on board. He had his shot, and he blew it.
Shot. He went to junior prom with the hottest girl in school, and he
did
threw
not
up
seal
on
the
her.
deal. He did not seal the deal.
He threw up on her, and he keeps asking her out.
Yeah, I'm not even sure he threw up on her. I think they had a pleasant time, and he drove her home, and he still thinks that there's something there, and she just was like...
They didn't have a pleasant time.
He drove her home.
Was The Last Jedi.
And let her get out of the car herself and walk herself to the door. Okay, and then he was thinking afterwards, maybe this should have gone another way. Maybe I could have handled this differently.
Maybe when she threw my corsage over her shoulder.
That's right. Just tossed her. It's like, yep.
Last Jedi is the worst thing to happen to Star Wars, even more so than the holiday special, I say. So he basically, I don't know what he did. Whatever the worst thing anyone ever did on a date was to somebody in front of the whole world, and still keeps asking her out. Ryan,
and it's not even just asking her out; it's the sincerely believes that
he's
she's
not
going to
asking
come around.
her out. He's on the internet saying, "Oh, I'm still dating."
We're going to get back together soon.
Charlize Theron. Me and her are tight.
Yeah, I was just talking to her parents, and she talks about me all the time.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah.
Charlize doesn't like you. We don't like you. Stop. Just please stop it.
Just stop.
The scary thing is they'll probably give him another one, and then then I don't know what happens.
I don't know. I have to believe that Bob Iger is back at Disney for the next 2 years for a reason, and that he's righting all ships. I have to believe it.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, what does anyone else have?
Well, I'll go. Yep. According to Comic Book Resources, we all know that they're very reputable.
This is the National Enquirer of Geek News.
I just don't. So help me understand what interpret this. It says the MCU's Spider-Man 4 is reportedly shifting into advanced pre-production. The hell is advanced pre-production? That's a headline where there's nothing to write.
That's what I'm saying.
Just going to call it advanced pre-production.
No inside scoop, nothing whatsoever, and you just need to have clickbait.
Advanced pre-production.
Is Tom Holland not even wrapped up yet?
Well, but the movie could be in advanced pre-production without Tom Holland's deal signed. I don't understand what that means. So now I've shared it with all of you.
Comic Book Resources. I think we have to ban them from random topics.
Yes.
Well, they're as bad as that. We've got this covered, guys.
Oh my god!
I won't even read their articles anymore.
Yeah.
So, because basically, I had nothing for random topics, so I had to throw that in there.
Okay.
Tom, what do you got?
So, Chris Hemsworth says a potential Thor 5 would need to be completely different from the last two films.
I'm hoping so.
Yeah.
At least the last one film.
The last one, and it's he says he thinks the first two films were very similar, and 3 and 4 were very similar. And he would want to do something completely different with the character for a fifth film. I don't see 3 and 4 as being similar, and I honestly don't think 1 and 2 were all that similar. But he gets it, at least. He has figured out that
3 and 4 were similar in that they leaned on humor more than 1 and 2. But
one worked.
One did it well, and one didn't do it quite as well.
And the other thing 3 did extremely well. It's balanced the dark and the light, and 4 didn't do that in any way, shape, or form. So, but it sounds like
he's Gore Hot Toys figure coming out now. Like, if you're Hot Toys, don't you just not release that figure at this point?
Yeah, I don't get that at all.
I don't understand. But anyways, he sounds like he's open to, he's the last one at the party from the first crew of Marvel people. So, it's
and out of all the actors, he seems like the one who would continue to do it if it was the right circumstances.
Yeah. So, and he's supposed to be immortal, so he could really, with good CGI, he could do this, late into the century. So, we'll see how that goes. So,
did everyone see the Avatar trailer in the theaters?
I did, yes.
Yes,
I did.
Multiple times.
Does anyone actually want to go see this movie? I'm not even really joking.
My level of indifference is there's a new trailer that just came out, and I was like, yeah, whatever. And I didn't watch it. I was like, yeah, okay, whatever.
I really feel like I will not go see this movie. I'll wait for it to be on something. Anybody?
I don't know. But I'm wondering, it's like, is there a bunch of people that are excited about this film? Because, like, I'll see an article about it, and there's 3 comments. Oh, my kids are really excited, or I can't wait to see it, but that's it. It just
seems, even the trailer seemed very, like, full of itself. It seemed like very, like, oh my God, you're waiting to go back. Like, nobody's waiting to go back.
Yeah.
I really don't feel like anyone cares.
I'm really curious to see what its opening weekend does.
Isn't it like Christmas
soon.
Or is it?
It's coming up soon.
They have got to be. They go back and forth between the 5th and 4th highest grossing film ever to break even on this. So,
I just don't get it. Yeah. It comes out the 16th,
December 16th. Yeah.
I really feel like I'm not going to go see it.
That's like just over 2 weeks away. By the time this podcast comes out, it is under 2 weeks away. So
I just don't get it. Okay.
I am curious. Let me put it that way. Almost curious enough to pay it for a ticket to go see it. Almost. I'm not sure.
There's got to be something there. There's got to be something there that's not in the previews, because it does not interest me at all.
Let's see.
I don't even know who I'll see it with, because none of my kids or my wife have ever seen the first one.
Oh, really?
So really? I'm on my own on this one.
I want to see what did Black Panther open with? Let's see here. Black Panther.
170 million.
I'm just looking at domestic. It's out 3 weeks. It was 100 and something. It wasn't like.
I think it was 170.
It wasn't. What do you call it? Money.
It wasn't 190, which is what they were targeting.
I'm gonna say it's right around the holidays too. I'm gonna say 68 million. Anybody?
Well, you know that new Disney animated movie that just came out? They were expecting it to open to 50 million, and it opened to 11.
Yeah, I saw that.
So
I'm saying
people aren't necessarily going back to the
put this down. I'm gonna go 80. I'm gonna go 80.
Barry?
I'm going to go 110.
Oof. You're always the optimist.
I've got to believe that they've invested as much as they have in this because they know something we don't.
No, they're afraid of James Cameron. The whole world is.
So Cameron has already said, if the first 2 don't do as well as I want them to, I'm only going to make 3.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, because he's planning 5, right? He's planning 5 sequels. But he's like,
Johnny.
Well, I'll make the first one. If it doesn't do well, then maybe I'll make the second one. And then if that doesn't do well, then I'll end it. I'll stop at 3. I have news for him. I don't think he gets that far.
No way. If the ride at Disney World wasn't as good as it was, this wouldn't even be on my radar at all.
So this is the Planet of the Apes for the new century. Each film, they're going to spend a little less money and they're going to just try to eke a little bit more out of it, and until they're making one for like $1.25 in a back alley somewhere.
I don't know. Their less money is, $400 million, not 100, not a million, 1.5 million.
Shouldn't we have makeup? No, we'll fix that with CGI later. Just run around.
They're $250 million in on the second one, and that's without the advertising.
I've heard more than that.
And Disney owns it.
Well, that's it. Disney owns it, and Iger is coming in and shaking things up and revisiting what they're spending.
Yeah, I've heard this is close to $400 million.
I don't think that. I think the reason that they're saying that is because they've been filming parts of 2 and 3 concurrently.
Very possibly, but
what I'm reading right here,
if this tanks, that other stuff isn't going to help a lot.
No, but what I'm reading here is from 4 days ago. Is they're saying that Avatar's 2 budget is $250. That right now Avatar 3's budget is also $250.
Yeah. Okay, so that makes sense because they were saying it's a $400 million production.
So they're just splitting it, between the two.
That seems like a waste.
They're saying, I think you just said this, Dave, but they're saying if it doesn't become the 4th highest grossing film of all time, that it's going to lose money.
Good luck with that. That's how I usually try to go out and make things.
That's not the way to...
I've got to be
Oh, I'm sorry. I misquoted that. Avatar 2, this is from Variety, a very reputable source. Avatar 2 is so expensive it must become the 4th or 5th highest grossing film in history just to break even.
Did I not say that 10 minutes
headline.
ago?
Yeah. You might have. I knew one of you said it.
Okay. Sounded familiar.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Any other random...
I just a quick thing. I had just read this today. Hugh Jackman was offered James Bond before Daniel Craig.
I could see that.
I could see that too. I think I am okay with his not taking it, but I think in a world somewhere where he took it, there were probably some cool Bond films. Very different though. Very different.
I'm happy Hugh Jackman is Wolverine, and I'm happy Daniel Craig.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Bond,
and we wouldn't have had the best Wolverine film if he'd done that, and Logan and
I thought you meant Wolverine Origins.
Wolverine. I knew you were going there, but yeah, I just found that really interesting, and so
what's interesting? Fanboy Collectibles.
Always.
It's the holiday season. That means you got to go buy stuff for yourself. Like we do.
Yeah.
Okay.
So much for our slowing down this time of year.
I've slowed down, sort of. Iron Studios, they make everything. So there are statues of Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, Hawkman, The Exorcist,
I was going to say
Obi-Wan,
Reagan
and Leia.
possessed in the bed from The Exorcist.
I hate that movie. It's so creepy. Masters of the Universe, Iron Studios has got everything. So check those out if you're into everything.
And if you're big into Star Trek figures, you can pre-order Quark.
Quark, I have that there too. I like that they're making the aliens.
Quark, and then it looks like Krug is going to be next. So
I just like that they're doing a wide variety of characters from across.
Oh yeah, and not
the franchise,
and not going,
nothing
they're skipping
predictable
around.
and not
They're all over the
yeah.
place. I'm sure the Trek nerds are freaking out, but so
Krug
check it out.
They had early pictures of him. Looks really good. So.
Yeah. And Hot Toys and Pops and sideshows and everything you need. Everything. Put them on your Christmas list. Say, hey, just go. I like Batman. Go to Fanboy Collectibles. Buy me something Batman. That's all you need to do. Really, they make it easy for you.
Absolutely.
Check them out online, fanboycollectibles.com. Check them out at their store in Newtown, Connecticut. Tell them the Regular Joe sent you. Okay. So I guess we're going to talk Andor. We talked about it in the beginning and then a little
I think
in
we
the
talked
middle.
about it after was it the second or third episode, maybe?
Something like that, yeah. The first time something happened.
I saw a quote today that someone said, and I think it was like something like the Hollywood Reporter, but like one of those opinion things is like the best Star Wars ever. I don't agree with that at all, but I don't think it was bad. I wouldn't consider it the best Star Wars ever.
You can't. I agree with that. I mean, I agree that you can't call it the best Star Wars ever. I certainly liked it. but it doesn't and can't stand by itself at all. If you don't know Star Wars, it doesn't really work.
I think there were 8 good episodes in there. I think there were several very slow episodes in there.
I didn't mind the slow episodes at all because I enjoyed the character building and the world building that they were doing.
I didn't dislike them, but to me, I feel like I would love these series. The only thing that really jumps in my head is like Hawkeye is like, oh, I could use 2 more episodes of this. I didn't feel like that with this. I'm like, okay, we got there weren't all, some were a snooze fest, and I didn't feel like we got anywhere. We took 12 episodes to not really get too far.
I disagree. I think we got somewhere. I think we got.
I don't mean anywhere. I would have liked to gotten further.
We took this guy and through a series of things that he brought on himself and one total injustice, we brought this guy around to not just being someone that was willing to make a few bucks off the rebellion, but he's going to dive in. And, this is different than any Star Wars thing that's been done before. There's no question that it's slower, but it's very granular. You get all the stuff. I've likened it a couple times to like reading a novel where you're seeing every scene constructed. You're seeing all these things, some of which pull back together, some that don't. But this is a long game thing. And you're seeing a very long, slow build up to something. It's also, I think it's more adult than any Star Wars that's been done before. There was nothing cutesy in this whatsoever.
Yeah. Except for that little garbage can droid.
Even that, there was very
but it was
minimal,
a little heart-wrenching.
Minimal use of it. It was kind of sad.
It really was.
And it wasn't, that's not a thing to sell toys. And there was nothing in this to sell
toys.
Although
I really want an action figure of him now.
Oh. He's actually in the Black Series Cassian figure. He's packaged with him.
Yeah, so, I think that they sell one in Disney also on a card.
But. Yeah, but
and he sings songs. No.
I think it's, like I said, I liked it a lot. I
liked it a lot too.
It took me a little while to realize what I was watching and the pace of it and settle into that. Because I also thought that when the first time it picked up and all of a sudden we got some action, I was like, okay, the ride is on.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't. And then it slowed down. And then
it was never really a ride. But
I know.
The thing that I feel like it did best out of everything, more than any other Star Wars thing we've ever seen, it showed you just how cruel the Empire was from pretty early on.
Absolutely.
And gave you all of the backstory for why the rebellion took as long as it did and why people were blind to what was going on. I mean, and that to me was the most interesting part of it.
Every character in Star Wars you can describe in a couple of sentences, maybe a paragraph, and you cannot do this with this guy. You cannot do it with the rebel leader guy, the string puller guy, whose name I forget.
Luthen.
It's much harder to do that with Mon Mothma now. These are much more fully formed characters. They're not, and they weren't reacting to things. They were putting themselves in situations, and they were dealing with that. And I think this is, like I said,
they're definitely more
novel-like than,
and it shows how much more tragic all of their backstories are.
I'll say one thing too.
I mean, Mon Mothma is a good example.
I
would have never in my wildest dreams expected so much of what went on in her backstory.
Oh my God! And basically the way she got herself out of it by basically exploiting her husband's weakness, I thought that was brilliant.
Well, and then having to betroth her daughter to a gangster just to
or at least go down that road as a stall tactic. But it's
I think that was a done deal.
No, I don't think so. I think that was, he wanted an introduction. I think we'll see, but
she was wearing the colors of his family in that final scene when she was handing the daughter off.
I don't think that was a betrothal. I think that was an introduction thing. I think it's a different cultural. I think it's a different kind of cultural thing. But I think, like I said, I think these. you watch Star Wars and you hope that people are going to do something, or you expect that people are going to do something. You could watch these people and say, I know why they're doing this. And this makes sense to me. And this is, and like I said, I think these are some of the most fully formed characters we were ever exposed to, other than in the Clone Wars. And this was, like I said, I think it's really, really good in that respect. It's not The Mandalorian. And I think
The Mandalorian's a little thinner than this.
And those characters again are kind of caricatures. You can expect what's going to happen. I think the character evolution that he went through the various stages through this thing makes perfect sense of who he will be. Where we go in the next part, obviously we've got to see some more things happen, but I think, like I said, I liked it. It's just, you cannot put this on the same level as like Mandalorian or something like that and compare the two 1-to-1, because they're not the same kind of thing. It's a completely.
I like that we can get both. We can have
and that's
more of the Mandalorian and also get a story like this, and know that 2 years from now we're going to get another story like this.
Right,
but it's surprising that they took their time with this. I mean, networks aren't doing this as much. Where like let this thing unravel itself.
And people were critical of the pace of Obi-Wan, and this thing moved at a third the pace of Obi-Wan.
I thought Obi-Wan moved appropriately.
No, but I'm saying people were critical of it.
Yeah. And I'm just saying it's just some of these were a little slow, but I did like the whole the why that we never got the why for anything really.
Yep.
What I want to know, I also would have never. I'm sorry, Todd. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I also would have never expected that. And I know we said spoilers, but spoilers again.
There are spoilers. Too bad.
Yeah, that Luthen had to basically force the rebellion. He had to make things worse for people just so that they could see how bad things were going to be. I didn't really think that was going to be his how he was going to be so pivotal, but it wasn't moving fast enough, and he needed people to see how bad things really were.
Because it was spread out in a galaxy, it's very hard for everyone to see what's going on.
And the stuff that they read from that kid's manifesto, that in the end kind of drew things in together, and the whole point that they made, where it's not your actions right now, it's the actions of all these people all together, and that pushing and that slow kind of pushing that's actually going to get this thing going. And it's and that's what he was. He was the grit that forms the oil, that forms the pearl, and that was his thing. And he will die before this is over. There's no question of that.
And he's clearly he understands that the ends justify the means, no matter what those means. So, like, he was willing to sacrifice 30 guys so that they could, not be discovered and not have to start over.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean,
he's willing to, even when you just think about how quickly the Empire went from, all right, we're just going to double everybody's sentences, and we're just picking up people because they look
right. Oh yeah,
they don't seem to look right on the beach, so we're grabbing these guys and throwing them in jail.
Wait till 2024. We're going to see more of that.
Yeah.
But it's interesting when you really look at it and you say, how much more of this would these people have needed to absorb before they might have rebelled had he not kept stoking the fire the way he did.
There is a lot of World War II in Star Wars. Okay, it's always been an influence. The uniforms, the fighters, the way that the fighters fly, not like spaceships or whatnot, stuff like that. But I've read a lot about the resistance efforts during World War II. They tapped into a lot of that same kind of stuff, the kind of closed cells and the people being sacrificed and the things. But there's just this feels realer than it's ever felt before. The whole idea of the rebellion being a granular thing that happens and just builds up. It's like when they were talking about the letting those guys be sacrificed, I thought of Coventry in England, where the Allies knew Coventry was going to be bombed, but they couldn't warn them because that would have revealed that we knew that Coventry was being bombed because we'd already broken the
They
codes.
claim the same thing
Right.
about Pearl Harbor.
And it's well, people claim that, but it's
I believe it.
I'm not sure I do, but anyways, it's just like I said. I think it's a well crafted story. I think it there were some parts that were drawn out a lot more than the others. I will say, go to the end, the little post credit thing. Okay, did not like that at all. I felt like they spent all this time doing all this practical stuff, and to just kind of like try to tie this thing in, throw this little conceit in with it's all 100% CGI, just felt cheap.
Really? I thought it kind of it tied back to. Let me go back.
It did, but it was.
But it tied back to they are literally keeping people in prison despite their sentence to create this machine to build a
Dave,
machine.
You made films. How could you have done that practically without it just being a CGI scene?
You couldn't.
Well, you couldn't.
You absolutely
I
could
don't see why you needed
could.
to be.
You have a cargo ship with like rows and rows and rows of these things, okay? And one person walks up to the other person and says, "These are the final pieces for assembly," or whatever, and then you look through the porthole, and there's the Death Star. Something like that. There's a way of doing
everything in the show wasn't.
Not everything, but I'm saying they did a ton of it that way. And I'm saying here was a shot that was completely CGI. Every single bit.
All right,
of it
but
was CGI.
all the shots with that dude Luthen's badass spaceship was all CGI.
I know that, but I'm saying, I don't know. That just
I
felt,
didn't have that reaction at all. I actually, I like that tied back to Rogue One, because in Rogue One we see that completed dish being lowered into the Death Star.
Right, yep.
So I like that, and I like taking a step back from it and thinking the fact that Andor led that rebellion in that prison probably delayed the completion of the Death Star, even if it was by a day or two, or a week or a month or whatever it might have been. But that's what gave them enough time to eventually get to Scarif and steal the plans. And if the
that's
Death Star
years later at this point.
No, but hear me out. If they hadn't delayed it at all, they might not have ever gotten the plans into the rebellion's hands and been able to blow up the Death Star, because it might have been operational a month earlier.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, I get that, but they also it shows like you talk about the funny thing, Star Wars and everything was like you just thought the empire, the universe was the good guys and the bad guys. We never got the how'd they get there, and what like you said before, what this guy's doing. It's like one world is like, yeah, we're a little oppressed. What are we gonna do about it? Another world is like, we're not oppressed at all. Another world is like, yeah, we're super oppressed. And this guy brought it all together. But the fact that they are literally keeping people in prison to complete this thing, that just shows how messed up that was.
And
I
there are
thought that brought
countries,
the
there are
whole thing
countries on this
together.
planet that are doing the same thing, that are doing exactly the same thing right now, so they can build their own Death Stars. But no, it's yeah. So what I want to know is how, if he's left behind and he can't swim, how Andy Serkis gets to be Snoke. Because that just I just couldn't draw that
I
line.
felt bad. The dude doesn't know how to swim. I don't
So-
think it mattered at that point.
Yeah.
I think you've got to just jump and hope for the best.
You,
But
you could doggy paddle, can't you?
It didn't seem like anybody other than Andor and his buddy made it to shore.
That was a little far fetched. They're all jumping in, and they didn't get found. I mean,
But I think some people did. I also think that when you're swimming for the coast like that, you don't end up together.
No, I know.
I
agree with that.
think probably they weren't the only ones that made it.
everyone sort of. We didn't get a sense of where everyone was.
Yeah.
I saw a thing on YouTube, and I didn't watch the thing. I just saw the title. They're saying, "Is this Luthen guy a Jedi in hiding?"
No, he's not.
No.
One of the reasons people thought that was because he was holding what looked like a lightsaber, but
Yeah,
it's actually
it's a
his
staff.
walking stick. Yeah.
He also had the Shankara stones on his.
Yeah.
Yeah,
On
does
his
that make him
shelf.
Indiana Jones?
He is Indiana Jones.
Okay. How badass was that scene where that Empire ship tried to just hassle him?
That was awesome. His ship
Wasn't
was
that
awesome.
amazing?
His ship was pretty goddamn cool.
And he just blew the shit out of that dish. And then when they swing it, they come in to get him. The two beams, and just doing
It takes
doing
a
the
lot.
lightsaber move with two. I mean, that was crazy.
It takes a lot at this point of Star Wars, 40-something years in, to completely come up with a new idea or surprise us. That surprised me. That was great.
Surprised the hell out of me. And it was just like, and it was like, oh, geez, the jig is up. And it's like, but yeah, I mean, this guy, one way or another, this guy could not be taken alive. And so he had every armament that he could hide. And I'm sure he had a self-destruct button that he was ready.
And now you know why early on in the series he was like, Andor's seen my ship. Like, that ship he's very protective of that ship. Like, he doesn't want people in it to know what he's got hidden in there.
Yeah.
But I thought that was awesome.
Cool.
I really did like that scene too towards the end where Deidre was basically getting, attacked by the mob, and they were dragging her back.
Yeah.
Forget the fact that Cyril rescued her, but I was like, holy crap, like they might actually show her getting
I was hoping
ripped
they
apart.
ripped her to pieces. I was really hoping they would.
Yeah. I mean, again, I liked that. I liked how they maneuvered, bringing them all back together. I didn't think the mother was really dead. I thought that was a ploy of somehow to get her to escape or something like that, because we didn't see her die.
I thought about that, and at first I was disappointed that she dies off camera, but I think they had to have that happen so that she could give that speech at the end.
Yeah.
Right. And that was her big final scene. Yeah. No, I think
saw a video today where they freeze framed and slowed down that moment at the end of her speech where she says, "Fight the Empire." And they said that what her mouth actually said was "fuck the Empire," but that the censors must have gotten to it because the way that her mouth moved compared to the way that you would pronounce
people just.
And I was like, I
get out of control with this.
I'm kind of glad that they didn't use a real world curse word at that point. Anyway, like "fight the Empire" was fine, but I was like, wow, boy, you're really swinging for the fences.
So they
here.
went from they said shit at the beginning of the series, right?
Yeah, they did.
And yeah, that would have been a lot.
That would also have been a lot for a Star Wars project of any kind.
Yeah. Agreed. So how long do we wait for this? They're filming in the next one. You don't think it's until 2024?
They just started filming.
We could get at the end of 23. Maybe. Maybe not.
I bet you we get it in 24.
Jeez, these things take such a long time, I swear to God.
I know.
What did you knew there was a final scene. What did you think was in the final scene? Did you have any ideas?
I had hoped it was something that explained what it was they were building, and I had a feeling
really?
it was tied to the
I didn't
Death
have
Star.
any thought one way or another. Did you think it was something?
I didn't think it was
else?
going to be like a time jump or any kind of like real...
I thought maybe it had something to do with
K2SO. That's what I thought we were going to see. I thought we were going to see K2SO coming off the assembly line or something like that.
Yeah.
Or one of those kind of things. I actually thought at one point that's what he was building when they were building the things. It was like, is that the frame for those things? Is that the upper torso frame?
That would be funny if that's what they were building.
Yeah. And honestly, though, whatever it is they were building, I feel that I could build one. Having seen them do that over and over again.
You always think, like, how'd they build Death Star? How'd they build something big? Yeah, they have prison planets full of making parts. It's crazy.
And
Three shifts a day, 24/7, running, just building these.
Right.
things.
And then tons of those platforms just like that. I actually, I kind of liked that whole, looking from the backside, looking backwards. I like that whole prison thing because it did a bunch of things. It established him as a person who understood the dynamics of leadership. It gave him, a grievance in it, but it also showed his creativity, and it showed that, he could also be, he could be motivated and he could be selfless. He could have tried to lead that revolt himself, but he didn't. He knew the way to do this was to get Andy Serkis's character to do it. And, it's just all of these things are skills that we're going to see later. It also expedited for him that firsthand knowledge that,
there is there's no winning with these guys. Like,
No.
It doesn't matter. There's nothing you can do that's gonna, you can't just go to jail, serve your time, and come out and be like there's no winning.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Soylent Green is people.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's what that felt like. Anyway, let us know what you think. If you've seen it or haven't seen it, you shouldn't be listening to this. But yeah, it was enjoyable. It's definitely a different plane for Star Wars, I believe.
Right. I mean, and for anybody who thought that the pacing was too slow here, I think when we finally get the next season, which they're saying is the last season, it's going to be 4 arcs of 3 episodes. So it's going to have to move at a faster pace.
That's the thing that's what I the whole 5 seasons, no one proclaims you're going to do 5 seasons. That's ridiculous because you just don't know. But to go and then to say second season's the last season, that's why I felt like we only have 12 now. We only have however many next time. Like, I felt like we got to get more out of it.
Well, and if each episode if each arc is 3 episodes and each arc represents a year, which is what they're saying, then they've got to cover a lot of ground in 3 episode arcs to get us over the next 4 years.
That's what I was meaning by I thought they had 12 episodes and they sort of wasted some. But why does it have to be? Why can't you just? Why do we have to know what the end is while we're in the middle? I don't want to know this is only 2 seasons.
One other thing I will say is this is not their first foray into prequels, okay? And this is the only Star Wars prequel I have seen where I felt I didn't know what was going to happen. I mean, obviously, you know where the guy's going to end up, you know how he's going to die. But I'm saying I didn't know this journey. I didn't know, and it was not completely predictable each step along the way. Okay, I don't think there was all that much that happened in the prequels that just didn't feel so preordained that it was just what it was. This was, like I said, this was a guy's life laid out in pieces, sometimes a day at a time. And I think we saw in a way that we did not see for some of the characters who's changed significantly, like Anakin and things like this. We didn't see that granular, slow change that had to have happened over time. We're seeing this happen, and even though we know where it's going, and it's like I said, I just think it was really well written and well executed.
Definitely well written for sure. No doubt about that. Some of the best written Star Wars we've ever gotten.
Yeah.
I thought it was executed well. None of the, and I get where people felt some of it was slow, but I was just enjoying every minute of it. So for me, it didn't ever feel slow.
Barry, you and I are going to have to talk more about this because I feel slightly disturbed that I might have liked this more than you.
No, I don't think you did. I really liked it a lot.
Okay. So.
Okay. Let's go. Where you want to go? What's in the box or the holiday thing?
Go what's in the box first. Mix it
Let's
up.
go what's in the box.
Show you in the box. Who's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box?
Regular Joe's What's in the Box.
Todd, what's in the box?
Okay, I have a big metal Scarlett Johansson here. So, yeah.
Herofied.
So this, I ordered this from Herofied when we were in Rhode Island, and it came a little while ago. This is going to go in my Avengers shrine. So it's a large metal print of it's got a painting, a digital painting of Black Widow from Black Widow, and it's awesome. And so I will, like I said, I will have this hung with Tony and Steve in my Avengers shrine.
Is that your 4th big metal Herofied?
It is my 4th. I have the 4th, right? Yeah, I think the 4th.
You have the 2 ships, don't you?
No, I just have the 1 ship at this point.
Oh.
So, and I have the three Avengers and the Enterprise, which the Enterprise is still my favorite of all of them. And then I got a couple smaller things too. But yeah, but it's awesome. So
that's cool.
Very pleased, and I will spend a day hanging it because that's what it takes to hang something like this on a pitched wall. But it'll look cool when I'm done. So, yep.
That's cool. I know they're sort of staple of yours at Rhode Island Comic Con. You always pick up
every
a new
year.
one.
I add one, or at least have been doing that, and and it's like I said, it's I think they're awesome, and it just nothing quite looks as good as it does, and I'm super pleased. And like I said, I got my own little shrine, and this is the addition to it. So, Barry, what do you got?
I got something that I know you got too.
I did.
The Exo-6 Michael Burnham figure. I really was on the fence about this one. I know we talked about that a while back. Then I decided I was getting all the captains or all the commanders or whatever you want to say. So I committed to it more so out of the wanting to maintain that collection than because I thought it was going to be a great figure. But it is a really great figure. Comes with a ton of accessories, that most of which I'm not going to use. I've kind of got her displayed with the phaser. I put the belt on. I got the phaser in the holster, the communicator in the holster. She's got her tricorder on the holster in the back, and I went through all the hands. And she also comes with a rifle and other things. But I kind of like the Vulcan salute hand on the one side.
I do too. I got to say, I think I'm going to do almost exactly the pose that you have, and I'm going to put her to the left of Spock.
Yeah.
So
it's just, I mean, it's a great static pose type of figure. Like, I tried her with the rifle in her hand, holding it with two hands and all, but it's just a really, I mean, the uniform is so well done, and I mean, it really is a good likeness of her. I think Exo-6 is really rivaling Hot Toys as far as head sculpts go, and
they're doing a great job.
Details, they really are doing a great job.
I will say, if you look at Janeway, it's a little soft compared to the other ones.
Janeway looks a little cartoonish, just a little bit.
She does. She's a little fuzzy, but everything else, I'm super, super impressed with them. They've just done a great job. And Dave, I think you need to make us like a rack for all the unused weapons. I think we need like a display rack for all the phaser rifles that we're collecting.
Remember
and not
they
using.
sold those? I still have I think I have a bunch. They sold those.
I remember
with weapons. It's like a little,
but I think
grid.
Cutting those out of clear and just having so if you make like a thing with a bunch of peg holes and then just give it pegs, we can put it in like little light bright pegs. Mm-hmm. That would be kind of cool. Because I've got Picard's holding the phaser rifle, but everybody's come with a phaser rifle so far, and I think 7 of 9 comes with another one that's different, and so.
Well, I've been pretty good about sticking to for now, just getting the captains.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm glad I got it. It's a really well done figure, and the detailing on it's great. As I told Todd, for anybody that gets it, putting the belt on is a little bit of a trick. And I did have to re-glue the buckle back on because I pulled the buckle off. But it's once you get it set up, it's a great looking figure. And the the detailing in the phaser. I mean, the phaser even has a magnetic phaser type one that comes off the top of it. I mean, it's really great. The details are great. So Exo-6 is knocking it out of the park.
My tip for putting the small pieces together, I have sausage fingers, and from the big flat tweezers from the iFixit kit, the wide, long, flat tweezers are indispensable for that, for like pinching buckles together and doing stuff like that there's no way you can do this with your hands.
They've got a video on the Exo-6 website that even tells you've got to use something sharp and pointy to open up the belt hole wider to really get it in. And so.
Again, a magnifying glass in the iFixit kit is really helpful with some of these things. Getting the Spock knife on was like that. The knife
but the proportions on the body and the way that the uniform fits in it really displays really, really well. So I'm happy with it.
That's great.
And shameless plug, it's in stock right now at Fanboy Collectibles. So.
It is. Check it out.
Hey, and if you get it and you don't like it, you can just change the outfit out, put her in some flannels, and make her a Walking Dead figure. So
there you go.
That works too.
All right, Dave.
What was the other woman they just? So they made 7 of 9. What else did they make?
They sort of showed a teaser picture of T'Pol.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yep.
I did not order 7 of 9. I did not like that head sculpt on the picture. Who did you guys order 7 of 9?
I did.
No, I'm trying to just stick to the captains.
It comes in. I'll take a look at it.
And I will get to Paul, and I think they're heavy into Voyager so far, but they have not done B'Elanna yet. But I will get B'Elanna.
And they haven't done a single original series non-mirror universe figure.
That is
No, those were
interesting.
done.
That is interesting. You know, they need to do an Uhura because there was
they
no.
definitely do.
No, but I'm saying
and
there was
honestly,
no
they need-
Uhura from the. You know, I can see why they're not backing over early on, backing over what was already made by QMX.
Did they make a horror?
No, but I'm
No.
saying that was
They
the whole
definitely
there.
need to make a horror.
And they've made female figures and they've done a good job with it, and they need to make an Uhura figure.
They also
need to make
ultimately need
Dax.
to make a Sulu and a Chekhov because they were so limited. Well, they never made a Chekhov, right? And Sulu was so limited that you just can't get them. I mean,
Yeah, I never got my pre-ordered Scotty, so
and none
I
of
could
none
do
of
that, too.
the QMX figures are even remotely available at affordable prices anymore. So
Yeah.
I don't think they need to worry about treading over that. I think that they need to go there because that's part of what people are
and
really
they will.
excited about.
You know, you think about this. There's so many
They're
characters in
cranking
these
them out.
universes that they can take their time. It's interesting that they've gone as deep as they have on Voyager. Without like hitting next gen too hard first, and then we need DS9 figures too because we need a Dax and
You need a Dax 3-pack.
yes.
Well, I know we
Trials and
touched on this.
Tribulations, regular, and
Trip to
Risa.
Risa.
I know we touched on this too, but the Admiral Kirk figure from Star Trek: The Motion Picture that Exo-6 released and is sold out now just about everywhere. I think it might still be available on Fanboy, but
I don't know if it is, but
But it was a very limited release figure that they're doing. I guess they're doing Spock next, and they even had an
there's a
email
preview
out.
of the
A
Spock.
preview of the Spock. Like,
Yeah.
so they're cranking them out, but they're also doing like short run figures that they know are maybe not going to be the most popular, but.
I think people are getting those Admiral Kirks already.
We know from experience toy collecting for 30 years now, like sometimes the ones that are the short runs that you didn't think to grab right away become the really crazy expensive ones later. So
Yeah.
Yep.
anyway, Dave, what's in the box?
Okay. Also from Facebook, like my Tribble last week, I have gotten these. They are not.
I was
screeners.
just about to say, wait a second, what is that? All right.
I wish. There was a guy who posted a tip to get these. Some guy on eBay, a dealer, like a well-known dealer, bought supposedly, and I believe him, and I'll tell you why in a second, bought out old Lincoln Enterprises stock and bought these. These are old 70s Lincoln Enterprises badges that they were
God, I
selling
wish
through the catalog.
I had those. I wish I knew what those were.
So Dave hasn't actually explained what these are.
I'm sorry,
These
they are Star
Trek.
Trek Delta badges from the original series, the operations, engineering, and sciences. And he sold their old from Lincoln Enterprises, who Gene Roddenberry made after the company. So they're from the 70s. The only reason I believe it is because they were very cheap, and he has a ton of them. So I'm like, and you can even tell the stitching is really crappy. Like
It
in
is,
the 70s.
yeah. I ordered those when I was a kid. I waited like 7 weeks for them to show up, and
So they did not have command. They only had engineering and sciences. But I also got you guys some too.
Oh, sweet.
That's how cheap they were.
fantastic. Thank you.
They smell old too.
Yeah, that kind of gold lame material is weird.
Yeah,
And-
but the stitching is crappy. I wish they had command, but I thought, hey, for like $5 a piece, I thought it was
That's awesome. Thank you.
It's cool to have.
But now you know you're going to end up like setting up an eBay search to track down the command one just because you have to have it now.
I actually have, and I'm trying to think when it's from. I have a command one that I bought. It's got to be early 80s. That may be from them. And I have it. It's actually
I
on
bought
my-
mine from a back of a magazine thing from Lincoln Enterprises. I did not know who Lincoln Enterprises was.
Yeah.
I bought it from there, back in the magazine I got a Star Trek model kit, and I got those 3 badges. And I remember one of them, I gave one of them away in a trade. I don't know what happened to the other 2, but again, I ordered these things, and it took like 6 weeks.
That sounds like a Roddenberry thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm bagging multiple women right now. I can't mail your stuff out. But that is actually on my homemade Star Trek uniform that I've had since the 90s, and I had that badge in the early 80s. So I may have been through that. When I went to the Star Trek store when I was a kid, the Federation Trading Post, it was on 55th Street in Manhattan. I bought the Sciences one. It was $1, but it was not this vinyl stuff. It was woven pieces of gold thread. I don't have that one anymore.
So the whole thing was embroidered.
Yeah.
Yep. Interesting.
So, anyway, that's what's in the box.
That's cool.
Okie dokie. Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. The fact that Todd's wearing his Peter Quill shirt leads me to believe he really liked this.
I love this. I absolutely love this. I think they need to do a special for every conceivable holiday. I've loved both their holiday specials so far.
Really? Barry,
I really
did you
did.
love it?
Oh, I absolutely loved it. Did you not love it,
was
Dave?
glorious. This was,
It was horribly bad in a good way, I guess.
and that was the whole point. It's like they took a character they've given no time to whatsoever, and they basically made her the lead, and and then legitimized that in a very clever way. And I think it was a blast.
With no sense of any meaning or anything,
No.
it was fun.
No.
But I mean although that Groot suit was like what you see in Times Square.
Let me
That
tell
was
you something.
horrible.
I thought the same thing. James Gunn has definitively said is 100% CGI.
yeah.
I
That
swore
looked like
it was
a
a guy
suit that
in a
you
suit.
maybe buy from Shanghai for like $300.
I'm with you. And he was asked about it on Instagram or Twitter or somewhere. I read it today. He said, nope, it was 100% CGI.
Then if you did 100% CGI, why did you make him look so stupid?
He wanted him to look like he's still in that teenage. He's bit more of a teenager. He bulked up a little bit, and he's not quite back to
His face didn't
grown
look
tree.
anywhere near the
It looked like a
emotion.
bad mask. It really did look like a bad
it
mask.
totally looked like a bad
Yeah.
mask. And what's his face had a bad wig on too.
Star-Lord?
Star-Lord had
Yeah.
a bad wig.
Okay.
But Kevin Bacon looked good.
Something
Bacon
that I
looked
never
good.
picked up on, which maybe you guys did. So Quill's ship was the Milano in the first Guardians movie.
And then it was the Benatar.
The Benatar, which I didn't realize for
I
Pat
didn't know
Benatar.
that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
now it's the Bowie.
The Bowie, yeah, with permission from his family. So, I think
Yeah,
that's
they've changed names of it 3 times now. But
Well,
it
no,
was-
they've
It was a
destroyed the
Benatar. I knew the
ships.
Milano from Melissa Milano.
Yeah, I knew that, and then he changed it to Benatar for Pat Benatar in Endgame, and now it's the Bowie.
yeah. So, well, it is 3 different ships. So,
Right, it's the same ship design, but 3 different ships.
yeah, this
right?
one's a little more different. It's got a different shape
different.
to it, but I love this. I thought it was just a clever way of, they did the Christmas thing. They got a couple musical numbers in there. They got the whole kidnap thing was. I just think it was really funny. I thought how they used Drax and Mantis, basically 2 of the weakest characters that they've got, how they use those and to their full advantage.
All the stuff on Hollywood Boulevard was hilarious.
My God,
the fact that Drax's cousins were killed by GoBots.
That's funny. James Gunn has said that GoBots are
now in
canon
continuity.
the MCU now.
Yeah. So
It was just that was hilarious, and the whole thing where she sees the Steve Rogers guy and she jumps on him.
the guy runs away in terror.
It was great, and then the fact that they get drunk, and I loved all that stuff.
And I love the Jedi mind trick thing that you can do. Give me the map.
Yeah.
Give me all your money. It's just great.
Just seeing Mantis jump around like a bug.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
We've never, but the character
Never
can do
seen
that.
it.
but we've never
why
seen
did
it.
she not just jump over the fence instead of being thrown over the fence? But
It's just, but that was also great. Do you think you would throw me over? He just does it. I thought that was awesome. And their relationship is really good, but it feels like what it would be because, again, he is 100% literal and she is like 100% empathetic and they're just clash with each other constantly.
I also thought that the scene where she realizes that Kevin Bacon's just an actor, he's not actually a hero, and Drax is like, actors are repugnant.
yeah,
and she's like, you have to pretend to be a hero to save Christmas.
Less like Kevin Bacon and more like a hero. And that was funny. It was like, even Nebula even did the same thing. It's like, apparently all actors aren't disgusting.
Yeah, she wasn't in it that much. They must have got her for like half a day.
And again, they probably filmed a lot of this during the third film. And
yeah, well, they said that he got the idea for it while they were filming the second one, and he went home and wrote this whole thing in 3 days. They said,
yeah,
I could see that.
It's
But I just Nebula might have been only in it for a little bit, but her Christmas present for Rocket was hilarious.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. That was great. That was absolutely great.
It's funny that that Kraken or whatever his name, Sean Gunn, is now got the head thing. That wasn't in any of the movies, right?
No, he got
that in Guardians too.
And he was using it
Yeah,
at the end, and he was doing it badly. He was trying to fly the arrow around, and he shot Drax in the ass with it.
I was curious. Like, I get that they did the flashbacks in cartoon, but it would have been cool to see live action Rooker back.
It would have if they could have got him. It's I think that worked in the cartoon. If you think about like the Star Wars holiday special, dropping those 2 cartoon segments in there worked in exactly the same way.
Yeah.
Having
it's
the music
very goofy and it has no stakes whatsoever. But
none
you
whatsoever.
just got to approach it with that in mind.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that it did was set up that, again, spoilers, Mantis is Star-Lord's sister, because that apparently is going to come into play in the third movie.
Right. Yeah.
So you could have also just learned that in the third movie, and it would have been fine.
What is different from this, from every other thing that we have ever seen in the MCU? This is missing one component from every TV series, every movie, everything we've seen so far, including the animated stuff.
That I do not know.
I have no idea.
There's no antagonist. This is completely a misadventure. There is no antagonist. You cannot, I've been trying for 3 days to think of this. You cannot think of another Marvel thing where there isn't a bad guy. And this was just for fun. This is purely just for fun. So it's like I said, I loved it. It you can take it any way you want. And it's I thought the characters are just really funny.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I laughed out loud a couple times, and they were great lines. I mean, this isn't a Christmas gift. Is human trafficking was a great line.
It's like, it's human trafficking. Yes. It's like that's good. Yes. And
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I thought it was a lot of fun. and look, we all know Guardians doesn't necessarily take itself too seriously. It's one of the things we like about it.
Shouldn't, and
but
that's
this
the
took
thing.
it to a whole other level. Yeah. Especially kind of coming, and this is what I love about Disney Plus. Is quite honestly, Andor was heavy. This was light, but there's always something to watch on Disney Plus.
And
every
like I
week
said,
there's
it's
something
money's
new.
worth for
if
sure.
these specials are just this, if they're 45 minutes, 50 minutes, just take something that you know and spin it in a different direction or introduce something else. I think that's awesome. I hope they keep doing this.
And they're willing to spend money on this stuff. I mean, like Kevin Bacon, I'm sure didn't come super cheap either. And none of the effects really felt cheesy. I mean, they did Cosmo, the space dog, and they did everything.
I like seeing Cosmo and him talking.
So, like,
It's like, I would like a treat.
Yeah. I just thought I thought it was brilliant, and I just love that they're doing this kind of stuff. I mean, Of all the services I pay for, this is the one I actually feel like I get my money's worth.
Oh yeah, no. Again, this was it was pure fun. There was nothing there that like it doesn't weigh in anything. You could see it or not see it, but it was just like I said, the Hollywood Boulevard stuff was just awesome.
It really was.
We just stand here and people hand us money.
Just all the money that people, taking pictures with them, thinking that they're not the real guardians.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was great.
Good
My
stuff.
cousin was killed by a GoBot.
And then that's the follow-up scene where he's beating the guy up.
Bound in
He's
the
great.
shit. In the bad
One punch
GoBot
and he would
costume.
be dead. But
Yep.
so the Hollow. I wonder they'll probably do more. But
Kevin Bacon said, "I'll see you at Easter." So who knows?
Yes. Yeah. Who knows? Yeah. Yeah. He apparently, James Gunn approached him about this. He is not a big Christmas guy. And they said that they found like the most LA looking house they could find. And it's like, but you will never see Christmas decorations like this at Kevin Bacon's house because he's just.
yeah, he lives in New York. He doesn't live.
He's
he
not
lives
into it.
upstate and in the city.
Yeah, he's
Right,
not
but
into
the
it.
stockings that were
at all.
hanging on the mantle were actually the names of his kids and his wife.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, it just, but it was.
Kira Sedgwick actually did the voice of the phone call.
Of Kira
Yeah.
Sedgwick, yeah. Yeah.
That's funny.
But, yeah.
Good stuff.
It was. Yeah.
Good, sort of easy to watch without a lot of thinking. Okie dokie.
It's no Die Hard, but hey.
It's no Die Hard.
Christmas. Yeah.
Oh, I did look for the Dax pizza cat with laser eye sweater. You cannot get one by Christmas. I was gonna because we're supposed to have an ugly Christmas sweater party at work,
Yep.
and I'm like, oh, I'll get the one Dax has. Can't be found.
Yeah, we're doing one too, but thankfully I will be out of the country, so I don't get to
Good for you.
participate. Yes.
Yeah, tell me about it. All right, any last thoughts? I
You
asked.
mentioned Die Hard. My friend Scott sent me a picture yesterday. His wife got him a Nakatomi Plaza advent calendar that has Hans Gruber falling down.
Yeah,
the
that's
Nakatomi
all.
building.
That's I've seen that a lot.
Yeah.
I've seen that in a lot of places. It sort of ticks off the 25 days. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
They're making them out of. They're laser cutting them. I'm like, should I laser cut that? But I don't know if we need that.
So is this
Anything else?
is this where we insert the touching tribute to Irene
Yeah,
Cara?
that's it. That would be where this goes. So,
Rest in peace, Irene Cara.
yes.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to her. She was only 63. That's awful.
Yep.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Interestingly, it took me like 4 tributes to her to realize that every single one is playing the music from Flashdance and not the theme from Fame. And that struck me as odd. And then I realized what the opening line in the theme from Fame was. And I was like, okay, that would have been a bad taste.
She did songs for Flashdance? I didn't know that.
Yeah, she wrote the music for the main title theme. So, yeah. But that's the music they've been playing in the tributes, and it was like, what? Why didn't they do the Fame music? And it was like, okay, yeah, I guess starting out with "I Want to Live Forever" is just not a.
Yeah, that's tough. They didn't say what she died from, but that's way too young.
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, rest in peace. And you know what? I'm surprised. We're not talking about if you did watch it, but that Wednesday started. Did anyone watch it?
Yes.
I have not.
I have not either. So
I wrapped up last week. I wrapped up Titans. Not Titans. Pennyworth. Pennyworth finished because I may be the only person watching that, but I love it.
yeah, I was going to say you'll get a call from HBO Max thanking you. 'Cause you're the only person watching it.
That wrapped, and now I have room for another show. So
Yeah, so maybe
we
will
recorded-
begrudgingly watch a Tim Burton thing just because it looks sort of interesting. I'm hoping I hate it.
We recorded last Monday night, and within an hour of us ending our recording session, I started to feel like really, really crappy. I spent all day Tuesday in bed and basically knocked out every episode of Peripheral that was up.
Oh, yep.
So I'm totally caught up on Peripheral now.
I'm not.
I will say this, and it's not a spoiler in any way. One of the things that I really raved about it in the last episode was that it wasn't confusing at all, and it really, they explained everything. I do feel like it got a little bit more convoluted as it went on, but not to the point where I was like taken out of it or not enjoying it. But I do feel like, and maybe it was because I was under the weather and on medication, but I do feel like a little bit of it maybe got away from them.
I would be interested to see what you found. We'll talk about that because I think they do a really good job of setting something up, and within an episode and a half, explaining where they are.
Within an episode and a half.
No.
I
but
feel
what I'm
like you
saying
should
is-
wrap things
but
up in
it's
an
not
episode.
like I'm saying it's not like Westworld where you went like 5 episodes before they referred to something again.
No, that's fair. I'll tell you off the air. There was one thing in particular.
I got to get caught up.
But I am enjoying it, and now I'm where you are, Todd. I'm waiting for them to drop more episodes so that I can get caught up. But
Anyway, we'll figure all that out. Well, we've talked about that. We'll talk about Wednesday and whatever else. And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.